Hi guys, welcome to this video. It's gonna be about installing Arch Linux, but then with Btrfs. So when I start my studies, I start always in Arch, right? First Arch Linux, how does it work? Then you go to Calamares, how does Calamares work? Really reading code at every opportunity you get. And I've made already an article. Well, the article, oops, my mistake. The article was published already. Let's do a like this, Control G, and explained where I got my ideas, right? Because it's always coming from the internet, learning how to code, learning how everything works, and I've made here an article, all you need to know about Btrfs. So, time shift or snapper, and how you do it, what packages you want to need, but what subvolumes will you take, right? What things will you do? So I've went to look at other operating systems, but also at other people's ideas, and like SUSE, for example, was one of the sources where I went and decided what to do. And whenever I find something interesting, right, I'll put it in here. This is a Btrfs playlist, not for me, so no videos from me, but reference points which clarified what Btrfs really is and how it all works. It is a bit complex, but you can stay on the surface and just use the thing and roll back if you need to. So the information is out here. Where is it as well? It's already on the ArcoLinuxD.com website. Just did not make a video yet about it. So the Arch way of installing things. In Uefi, there's already a link to Control Find Btrfs. Follow this article if you want to format as Btrfs instead of Xfce4. So it is learning how an operating system works. That's Arch, right? Arch wiki install with a guide, and it's all typing commands in a black screen. It can be fun, but it's also time consuming. It's easier to have an ISO, a DVD, burn it, install it, and 15 minutes later you've got everything, GIMP and Firefox and editors and configurations, right? You'll have printers and Bluetooth and sound. This way is you figure it out. So this is what we're going to use at some point in time. We're going to skip the Xfce4 thing, and I'm going to go and deviate from the normal article, and instead of Xfce4 we'll have Btrfs. So this guy, we're going to put him on the second screen. So bye bye. I need to read this thing. Then we go to Vmware Workstation, create a virtual machine, typical, use Arch Linux. I think that's the correct one. No, that's the wrong one. This is AA out, another project of ours. I need to go to the downloads and I grab the official Arch Linux ISO 2022-0201. Yes, I know, it's already 15 days old, meaning we'll have lots of updates because Arch is what it is. Arch Linux. Where we're gonna put it, I have a folder called Vmware. That's good for me. Next. Size, gigabytes. Normally I go for 30 or something. And then store, that's okay, whatever. And then again, customize hardware. So I have a few gigabyte free, 32 in this machine. I can spare 8 for the virtual machine for sure. And then let's close this one up again. Number of processors, just the one, but we have 16 cores, so you can have 8 for my virtual machine. And all the rest can just stay. like this. Then we close it, finish, full screen, and then we have to type, right? We boot up with Arch Linux. On my second screen I need to get my mouse out of here. How was that again? A combo. It's Control Alt. And then I go to my second screen, scroll all the way up, and then we're gonna boot. Okay, we're booting. I'm wondering what I didn't look at. So let's restart. Am I booting? Yeah, I'm booting in BIOS. So let's see. I don't want to boot in BIOS. I want to boot into Uefi, so the newer machine. Options, I guess. Power. Ports, snapshots, auto protect. Uefi, there's the little button. Always have to look for it. Okay, by default, right, I'm always using VirtualBox, but for once, from time to time, I switch so you see other videos with other virtual boxes, like QEMU. There are others. So now we have a black screen, which means it's Uefi, it's mimicking, and it's always just that. It's a sandbox, it's not gonna be performant, but it's interesting for learning, testing, and all that. All right, now I'm happy. Uefi, scrolling down, connect to the internet, blah, blah, blah. And the first thing I need to do is load my keys. BE Latin 1, done that. Next thing is time date CTL thing, set my date, my time and date, yeah. Set minus, that's minus, no, that's minus. NTP is true. So I just follow the article on ArcoLinuxD.com, partition the disks, almost there, at the bit where we're gonna deviate. So GPT, Uefi, DOS, BIOS. GPT is what I chose and what I want. Okay, scrolling down. 500 megabyte is more than enough. What's that? Numlock, that's not on. Okay, 500 MB megabytes. And tell to him that's the type of Uefi. Okay, the rest is a small swap. I'll give it 5 gigabyte as swap. G is probably enough. And tell him it's gonna be swap, and the rest enter, enter, enter. Oops, too fast. I said quit with the last enter, which means nothing has changed. Nothing has been written. Pure, poor Eric, right? So again, 500 megabyte. Let's see if M works. Yes, M works. And then 5 gigabytes of swap, and the rest is right. Yes. Not the second time around, right? So Uefi system, 500 megabyte, 5 GB Linux swap, Linux system, didn't forget anything, but gonna check anyway. Otherwise, right. So divided the partition in 3 pieces. Scrolling down, see if disk is done. Scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. Formatting the partitions. This is what you can do. This is all the formatting you can do. So quite a few choices here, a lot of choices actually, but we want to have fat. For the first one, F32 device SDA1, check. Then make swap, since we made a swap partition SDA2. We're gonna use it and say swap on for device SDA2. Enter. Okay. And now we've got this link, right? This red text. Follow this article if you want to format as Btrfs instead of Xfce4. Jump ship. Scroll down. Then we continue with make the file system, the biggest one, the one for root. We're gonna make that one device SDA3. Enter. Big chunk of text. And this is your, well, now you know you're on Btrfs because of the long text. And then we're gonna mount this thing. Mount device SDA3 inside a folder called MNT. So mount. And then some specific commands to create. So subvolume create where that one. That's your root, the real top root level. And then arrow up, thank God for that. Arrow up, home. Arrow up, root, server, log, cache, TMP. Okay, that's it. Let me check. / home root server log cache temp, and then we just ask the list if it's okay. So in here, Btrfs, give me the list that I've created in mount. Another check. Fine. Let us unmount MNT. There's no need to do a sudo /, but back to the root, depending on where you were. Now we're really sure, out of mount, for example. So we're gonna unmount the folder, and then something very tedious. Unlong defaults, no time, compress equals set std, comma, typos, not yet, commit equals 120, comma, subvolume equals ampersand. Nope, that's not it. Ampersand, yep. And then device, this is the normal thing, right? Device SDA3, mount a partition in a folder. Since this is so important, I check again from left to right, from right to left. No typos. Then we're gonna continue. Since the mount folder, the MNT hard disk, right, has nothing, not yet, not really. We're gonna create some stuff. We're gonna create the home folder because it's a subvolume. We're gonna create home is done, root, arrow up, server, arrow up, and now I'm gonna create a temp, and now I'm gonna create the two long guys for /log, because we forgot var, or we do a -p, was it capital? No, small p, and that's gonna work, and instead of log we get cache. So basically we're creating folders. Now -p is because the var is not there, so it's creating var and log. Okay, or a one-liner. Oh yeah, true, there was a one-liner. Doesn't matter. And let's block. This is what we've done. I can omit this. I can delete this. This doesn't help us to show if that's okay or not. So that will be deleted. Then we mount the subvolumes. Okay. Mount. And there we go again. Now maybe I can do an arrow up, like this one. This is already typed out. Let me check. Now a time, compress, that is TD. Commit equals 120, subvolume A. That's where it changes, right? So here, I'll take home, device SDA3, and now the name of the subvolume and the name of the folder have to be the same. Well, more or less. So that's how you can check your work. So this is gonna be root, and that's gonna be root. That's line number 2. Then we got the server, SRV, arrow up, var log, var /log, and this is not var /log, but just log, the last one, and the same for cache, and then here cache, and then temp, tmp, tmp. These are our choices in ArcoLinux. We've made different ones on ArcoLinux, and we'll probably make other ones, different ones on AA, so the ArcoLinux with Alice, and that's the fun. That's the fun. You decide what you do here in this little bit, but do it right. So home, root, server, log, var log, yeah, for cache, and tmp, enter. Now we continue with a normal procedure. Okay, make dir -p mnt boot EFI, and then we're going to mount our UEFI or UEFI thing, which is device SDA1 inside what we just created in mnt boot EFI. Done. And there's some explanation about the no time commit compress on the article. Go back to the previous article, but remember, install the base and base development packages. During that time, you can install the extra packages, Btrfs procs for it, and the well advised to check again the FS tab, which makes sense. So, clicking back to 1. So go back. I'll be then around here. Scroll back up, install the base and base development. Okay, select the mirrors, mount the file system. So here we made our jump. Okay. Mount the file systems, we've done that. So we're now at installation, select the mirrors. Let's see what ArcoLinux throws at me. Living in Belgium, having reflector, what does he tell me? Lucea in Germany is the fastest, and Ospec is nowhere in sight. Strange. Let's hope it's a good server. Then we scroll down, install the base and base development. But first they say, use the power of pacman.conf, right? The parallel things there. At some point in time we got parallel downloads, but they don't activate it by default. Backstrap in mount base, oh my god, base and base devel, and Linux, and yes, Linux firmware things have changed in this package. Nano, and then the Btrfs procs added to the list. Why not? Why not now already? You know we have Btrfs. Yes. Go. Configure the system. Then we have FS tab. So that's also a very critical phase. If you did it right, you should have a good FS tab or file system tab. And all these missing firmware things is because of the Linux firmware that has been split into pieces, exploded. Gen FS tab -U. I'm going to mount it in here. No, another one. MNT etc FS tab. Typos. Done. Checking my work. And here we see the strange things, right? Slash and slash home slash root slash server slash varlog slash varcosh. No, looks all good. And there is a swap. SDA2. You can read more if you go to the right. But this is okay, right? If you see this, okay, move on. And then we scroll down. We need to shroot now. Arch shroot. We could always fix ArcoLinux if you got a USB around and Arch shroot in it. So that's that. Where do you live? Still the same place, same country. Who knows, right? Brussels. Time. Nah. The clock. Set my clock, please. That's that. Locale. Nano etc. It's always a lot of typing, right? Sorry for my study. ENUS, this guy. Yep, that's the one. That's my English that I want to have. Locale gen. I got my English. Scrolling down. Shorter alternative. That's the one I'm gonna take. Echo. Give me the language. English. US. Dot UTF-8. It's my suggestion always to use English because lots of tutorials are in English. You learn the English commands, the English words, which you can Google later on, right? Otherwise, it's gonna be in French or in German or in Italian. And how many hits will you get with your language? I guess less with than English. That's that. I have to check about typos when I talk. Might make mistakes. Voila. Looks all good. The host name. Me, I'm ArcoLinux. And I'll put this inside etc hostname. And now we type. And then this one, that one. Control X, yes, save. And this is a very important guy. He takes care of all our networking, wireless or otherwise, network manager. And we're gonna enable it. Maybe another bad idea, right? Maybe you should enable the internet. And if you see 3 lines, then it's a go. You can go on. Notice the capital N and the capital M. Root has now a password. Congrats, root. And then grub, right? But grub with EFI, UEFI. So pacman -s grub and EFI boot manager. Both get installed. Then we can use a command, grub install target equals x86 and then an underscore, important, an underscore, and then not an underscore, a minus, a dash EFI, and tell it where it is. Directory, yep, equals, and then boot EFI. Grub make config. Grub make config. Yeah, -o. Inside boot, inside grub, there you make a configuration. Scrolling. And then there is some possibility if you want to switch SSDs with an SDD bay. You type a few commands more, but normally you say exit. You say let's unmount everything -r/mnt and then reboot. And then we're at the second article. So at the bottom you'll find the next step. Okay. Next step is loaded. Also an image of refine there. Another deviation. So root, logging in and scrolling. Yeah, this is of course the new machine, not the one, not the ISO. This is my computer system. And guess what? pacman.conf, the parallel is still down. Yes, please. Thank you very much. I'd like that. And then you scroll down. There are things we can do later and things we can do now. I do love bash completion. I hate it if it's not available. So that's there. When I press tab, it auto completes. Personal account. That's a long text to type without any possible typos. And all the big letters, small letters, it all matters in Linux. Network. I always want to type a space behind the comma because it is the way to type, right? So I have to tell my brain, don't. Voila. Checking. Done. Eric gets also a password, a very complex password I can never ever forget. That's wrong. Again, my fingers are getting cold, which is getting more difficult to type. Tap, no, not tap, but page down, and then you go back up and you find the wheel thing and uncomment the wheel all. This one, uncomment to allow members of group wheel to execute any command. Looks good. That's the one. Control X, yes, enter. Exit. So out of root into Eric. He's logging in now. I need to type sudo because I'm not root and I have internet or not. I have internet. So we're at the second, at the bottom of the second article, which leaves me now phase 3. Let's get us graphical. We don't have any, well, you can stay like this and work like this, but most of us don't like to stay in a dark screen like this. Xorg apps, Xorg Xinit and Xterm, and that's when we install Xorg. So that's the guy that makes our graphical interface basically. Then drivers, of course, drivers are not needed, but AMD drivers, NVIDIA drivers. Many of the drivers are supported by the kernel, so you don't need to install any of the packages, but some of them you do need to install them. So it really is a search on ArcoLinux wiki what to do. But first try without, simple as that. Got a black screen, then you know you need to have drivers. So the next thing is LightDM, GDM, LXDM, and we got also Li. I'm gonna go for the default that we use these days is Sddm. Not selecting any theme, just pure Sddm. And tell you to remember always, if you install things like, well, if you install packages, some of them can be enabled, have a service that you can enable. In this case, we need to enable Sddm. That's the line you need to get. Otherwise, there's nothing graphical. It will not be launched. And sometimes there's an error. Then you type -F to force it. And of course, there's no error here, but just in case, you type -F. Now we need to have something. This is utterly unimportant for us. What we get next, the video is about, yes, Btrfs, and this is all wrong because numlock. Xfce4, Xfce4, and now goodies. So we got something to put into. With 2 commands, we got all that in. So that's what happens, right? If you select things in Calamares and it's a meta package, a group package, it means you're not installing one thing. No, you're installing dozens, 20, 30, 40, 50 packages in one go. And now it's time to Pseudo Reboot. Ooh, that doesn't exist. Pseudo Reboot. Voila. We've got ourselves a system. We go to settings, maybe, settings manager, display, make it a bit nicer. Where is my display? The icons of display is that one. Okay, resolution for me is best this one. Apply it, keep this, close this, et voila. We've got ourselves sudo pacman. Ooh, there we go again. Keyboards, right? Let's go to settings, settings manager, keyboard, layout, okay, out, add, Belgian, okay. English, you're out. Remove, close. And then sudo pacman -s new fetch. So you know what we're working on and you can show off. By the way, I am on Arch. All right. Time of the video. How much time did we spend already? So this is wrong of me. We spent already 34 minutes. And nobody's coming into the room. I can continue my video. I think I can. And what we can do is see what we get if we type this and let's block. We can see what we get if we ask the Btrfs subvolumes list. No, forgot something. The slash. So voila, we're on Arch, and we are on, well, Btrfs. We can have maybe a look as well with gparted, get a feel, a graphical look at the system we've made with gparted. And some information is there. If you drag it a little bit around, I think in here, yes, come on, there you see as well that we got Btrfs and all the subvolumes are listed. All right, next video, I'm gonna install some more stuff, and for sure I'm gonna get a AOR helper, because this is pure Arch, right? This has nothing to do with anything. It is pure 3 repositories, core, extra, community. It's still a pure Arch, and we're gonna add the spices to it. It's the ArcoLinux spices tool. So we have the ArcoLinux repos as well, and we can install anything from the ArcoLinux repos and build it up again, make it an ArcoLinux, this ArcoLinux. Many videos have already been documented on that, and that's also all on arcolinuxd.com. I don't have a browser, so let me get me a browser. So voila, Firefox is installed. How easy is it, right? Just to build it up again. Actually, on arcolinux.info, we already tell you the great tools that we have, and it's at the bottom where we say we have the tweak tool, we have the spices application, and the desktop trasher. So what I'm gonna get is install our ArcoLinux packages on any Arch Linux based distro. Button, get the keys, get the packages, and done. That's next video.